right, let's start this off, y'all.
Hey guys, Rich Richley here. Are you ready to take your income to the next level? Well, I got the perfect solution. I used to be a human-shaped garbage bag just like you until I followed these 27 easy steps that changed my life. Now I'm not here to make money on books. See, I'm already rich. But if you buy my book, Rich Like Me, I'll show you the steps to being already rich, like me. This isn't the same advice you get from all those other books. This is real tips that will actually work. Then you can go online and tell others how they need to change their lives to be rich too. See, if everyone did things that made them rich, then everyone would be rich. The secret is that getting rich doesn't happen overnight. So first, buy my book. Then tell your friends to buy my book too. But remember, I'm not getting rich on book sales because I already am. See? So you can trust me. You don't even need to read it because just by buying my book, you've already taken the same first steps I took to getting rich. Then soon, you too will be rich like me. Welcome to the Broke Otaku Podcast. My name's AJ, and with me is Marcus, a.k.a. Downtown Brown Ground Round Clown.
Downtown and around like I'm a clown. Blah, blah, blah.
Yep. And also, Alan, a.k.a. Peanut Butter and Cook Sandwich.
The best part about the cooks is the crunch.
Ew. That's really gross.
It's from the people who brought you crunchy peanut butter. It's cucky peanut butter.
Ugh.
I mean,
Extra cucks.
Tastes like adultery.
I feel like cuck is like, it's an old word, but it just recently,
It made a comeback.
Everything does that.
I know, it's just a gross word.
I mean, people have been saying hither all year. I mean, I know we're only 3 weeks in, but they've been doing it.
I've literally heard nobody say hither this year.
Man, you guys aren't on the super web then.
I saw.
I guess not.
One of the shows we watched, they called it The Net, and I was like, nobody's called it The Net in like 20 years.
The net was that was in the 90s.
Yeah,
When everything was abbreviated.
You know
that's
what word?
where we were forged.
You know what word people also don't use anymore, except for on Cyber Monday. Cyber.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, if you
cyber
want-
security.
Hey guys, do you want a cyber?
Ew.
Yeah, I feel like
Gross.
if you have to be in the. Yeah, do people still say cyber sex? I guess they do.
That
So
was,
like the new grossest word ever is cybercuck.
Ew. I think cyber's changed. Like,
The meaning
it's
of it.
more just like sending nude pictures. It's not really cybering. That whole
What are you
phase, that whole
talking about?
phase of the internet was gross.
I mean, rule of 33 or rule number 47, whatever the fuck it is.
Is that the rule where there's a porn of everything?
That's the rule where everything is porn.
Oh, okay.
What is
It's
rule
the porn
30?
rule.
Is it rule 32?
I think it's 36 or 37. Or it's 30 something.
You know what? Who cares? Let's
Well,
That's
let's
a good
consult
point.
the pornitarium.
yeah.
The porn.
Someone on the internet will tell us. It's 34, I just remembered. I don't know why I know that. Because I'm on the internet all day. Anyway,
We know
I have
how you know it.
a game. And so this is the special January 2021 edition of the Anime Smorgas-Borg, which I'm calling it. I coined that term just now. Actually, I had it
coined that
written
like
down.
2 weeks ago when we first talked about it.
Yeah, but then I made it official by saying it on the internet.
All right,
Okay.
Edison.
Fair.
So, so that's what, and it's actually Smorgas-Borg with a D. Did you guys know that?
Yes.
Yes,
did.
I
Not
did.
a G. Okay, well, I guess I'm the only idiot
You
on the
thought it
internet.
was Smorgas-Borg?
Yes,
like it's a
and for a
fucking
long
robot?
time. Well, I
We are
typed
the
it wrong.
Smorgasborg.
I am the Smorgasborg. Feed me.
Give me your cold cuts.
Variety is futile.
Watch out. Make sure you lock the door. It's Thanksgiving. The Smorgasborg might come by. If he does,
Bologna
fuck.
smells funny.
Revenge of the Smorgasborg.
You're stupid, AJ.
Thank you.
I hate you.
So as I was
Sorry, I didn't
reading
mean to
the
say that.
episodes for the Smorgas-Borg, I was reading the descriptions, and some of the descriptions are pretty weak. For example, this description: Sorao meets Toriko, and adventures ensue amid conflicting emotions. Toriko figures out how they can make some money, but will the risks be worth the rewards? Do you guys know what that's for?
Yes.
Toriko
Otherside
and Soul.
Picnic.
Otherside
Yeah.
Picnic. But the episode is kind of a stretch. They didn't mention the Piggly Wigglies or whatever they were called.
Wiggly Wagglies.
Whatever. Wiggle Waggles.
Wiggle
What's this
Waggles.
got to do with the game, man? This is what we're going to be talking about
Is this the
tonight.
game?
This
Has
is the game.
Started.
The game is I read you a description of the first episode. I take out the hints so it's not super obvious, and you have to tell me what anime it's for. And I tried to make it anime that I know you've probably watched or probably heard of. So you should be pretty good at this game.
That you're just setting me up for failure by saying all that, but it's fine.
Yeah,
Let's do
maybe.
it.
I have more faith that Marcus is gonna crush this game.
This one's for you, Marcus.
But Alan, there's some softballs in here. I think you can probably get them.
I feel like it'll be like Jeopardy,
You
where I
can
always do
get
a little
these
better than I expect.
Balls.
What?
All right,
Balls?
I said,
Alan,
you can
here's the
get
first
these
one.
Soft balls, boy.
I get the softballs. Oh. I
here's
love
your
soft
first.
balls.
Here's your first soft ball.
Yeah. Give it to me. Throw it.
One day,
in
an
my
ordinary
face.
high school student is involved in a car accident. When he wakes up, he finds himself on a ship belonging to a smuggling ring in Tokyo Bay with nothing but his brain. This should be easy.
X-Arm?
Yes, literally just watched it. Good job.
Yep. Thanks for that soft, smooth, sweet ball.
Well, it shows that you're paying attention at least. Marcus, here's your softball.
Reluctantly.
An irreplaceable home for the 38 children who live happily every day until suddenly their lives are completely changed forever.
I'm going to go with Promised Neverland, Alex.
That is correct.
I could have guessed that. And I even watched that
You
show.
could have guessed it.
Because you said kids.
Alan.
It's about kids.
There's only one show with kids in it.
I mean,
There's a whole
Yeah.
category on VRV of kids trying not to get murdered.
Yeah, Jerome put that that image in Slack.
Yep. And I stole
And
it
you
and
made
put it
it
on
viral.
Twitter. All right, Alan. With
Yes.
cold-blooded determination, a man sets out on the hunt for justice. The gunman who killed his father and claimed the #1 headband.
Afro Samurai Resurrection.
Well, it's
Or
just Afro Samurai,
Samurai.
but
Okay.
Half
there you
point.
go. Ding ding. These are easy. You know
Give
what?
him a half point.
Hey, no. You guys, I'm going to say this. You guys deserve a game that you can win. So here you go.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
We're already winning this game.
Well, I know. I'm just saying after all,
Confused.
we've been doing this for about a year, and I think it's about time you guys actually
You
dominated
deserve
the game
to
for once.
not look like an idiot. So this one's for you. Here's some soft balls for your face.
Marcus, a creature who blasted the moon into a crescent, shows up at a junior high school, and he gives the students a year to assassinate him.
Assassination Classroom.
Yes.
I didn't know what that was until you said assassinate.
I was wondering if I should have took that part off. Now I know.
I might have gotten it because I did watch like the first few episodes of it.
Alan.
They on that moon shit too.
They do it a lot better though.
They did the moon better
This
than
ain't
the
Akidama
other- that
Drive
other
moon.
moon
This is-
show where they blew up the moon.
This ass has class, Moon. All right, Alan. Nothing. Blank and blank. These are the names. Head to Tijuana to track down an outlaw smuggling a dangerous drug. Blank wants the bounty, but blank has eyes on a far prettier prize.
Cowboy Bebop.
You got it.
I was gonna get mad if you didn't get that, bro.
I didn't. I can hear Jet's voice saying Tijuana.
From here all the way to TJ.
All I can hear is Krusty's voice saying, Tijuana! Like that. Marcus, a brilliant but bored high school student suddenly finds himself holding the power of life and death in
Note.
his hands. Yes, Death Note. Death Note.
I'm just gonna guess the next one is Erased.
Why the hell are you guessing that?
I'm just kidding. This is a guess. It's what a guess is.
Okay. Well, I hope you're right.
Did I get it right? No, I'm just kidding. Give me the thing. I want the softball.
A struggling manga artist who works at a pizza parlor. Why did you guess Erased?
Because.
Why? What's the logic? I need to know.
Hold on, is that it?
Cause I'm in your fucking head, man.
Is that
yes,
it?
It's Erased.
Holy shit! Alan won. Alan just won the game.
That's how you crush a game.
Holy shit!
You fuck with the designer's head.
Dude, I thought I was being baller by guessing Death Note all early. You fucking pre-cogged it.
Yes, literally just read
Well, because when you
my
said
eyes.
a manga artist, I was like, oh, in Erased, he's a manga artist.
And then
I
he
thought
said
you realized
pizza
that
parlor.
all my titles were in alphabetical order or something,
Wait,
which they're not. But I wasn't sure if that was like a giveaway.
Hold on.
no.
They might be, aren't they?
No,
It's
they're
just
not.
Association.
Because Promise
Okay,
Neverland
no.
was first and X-Arm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't that obvious, but geez. Ugh,
Holy shit.
Fine.
Actually,
go
you know
me.
what? He can see the reflection of your screen off
Yeah,
of
I'm
the glasses.
totally reading the reflection, that tiny ass on this
Tiny
180p laptop.
Fine, I'm just taking my glasses off.
Man, don't act like you don't have that enhanced feature all hacked into the Matrix.
Google
Enhance.
enhance.
All right.
That's not how this works. I said enhance.
Even though Alan won, we'll keep going. Because I wrote these. Well, I didn't write them, but I copied them and pasted them. Marcus, a detached sixth grader afflicted by the pangs of puberty. A crazed girl on a motor scooter runs him over and brains him with a bass guitar. His life gets weird. Giant fighting robots shooting from his skull weird. Yes, Fooly Cooly. Alan, here's another softball. Brothers adjust to military life and take part in a manhunt for the dangerous blank.
Wait, what?
Brothers adjust to military life and take part in a manhunt for the dangerous. If I told you what it was, you would.
I would feel dumb. And I think you're going to have to do that. Brothers in the military.
If
This
he
one's
doesn't get
tricky.
it, let me guess. If he doesn't get it, let me guess.
Okay. This one is tricky. Brothers
I
adjust
got
to
nothing.
military life and take part in a
Military life.
manhunt for the
got it.
dangerous
No, it's
blank.
It's not happening.
I got it.
Marcus,
Full Metal Alchemist.
that is correct.
Oh, I never watched that show.
Whoa. What?
We've talked about this. It's on
We
my
have?
list. It's on my list, but I
Bruh.
ain't done it yet.
Bruh.
I ain't,
Our
right,
list
fine.
don't be even getting done.
I ain't about to be doing it, but I'm going to do it someday.
Marcus,
Yeah.
the first story introduces the curse-obsessed Saoichi. Then in the second story, a strange plague forces a couple to make a difficult decision about their child. This one you may not get.
Have I seen it?
You may not have. No, I don't actually think you've seen this.
Well, that's fair because you gave Alan something hard that he never saw. The first story and the second story. Is this Junji Ito horror finale or whatever that show was called? Junji Ito Collection?
Collection. Yes, it is Junji Ito Collection.
Dovra?
Bow. All right, this is tied because I didn't even watch that and I got it.
All right, Alan.
Yeah.
Policewoman. Okay, so if you don't get this one, I'll give you the name to help you because I don't know if the name will help you. Policewoman blank is mortally wounded in action and she's attacked by ghouls. Blank arrives and makes short work of the fiends and changes Blank's life forever.
Boogie Pop? Phantom?
No.
What's that one you guys always talk about cops? Angel something?
Her name is Saras Victoria.
He didn't watch
I
it.
didn't know if that would help. Marcus, do you
Electric
know it?
Boogaloo.
Yeah, it's Hellsing. Even before you said her name, I knew it.
Sing.
Tell me cool vibration. Live your fantasy.
Marcus,
Yeah.
Woke up the
after emerging from a death-like slumber, blank must defend Mika and Dr. Tokioka from a bloodthirsty horde of shape-shifting creatures.
Dr. Torioka.
Dr.
Shape-shifting-
Tokioka.
Tokioka. Shape-shifting creatures. This sounds like another
This
one
one
I
is
haven't
deceptive.
seen. Hold on. All right, do it again. Say it again.
After emerging from his death-like slumber, blank must defend Mika and Dr. Tokioka from a bloodthirsty horde of shape-shifting creatures. This one's actually a little bit not fair, and I'll tell you why after you guess.
Mika and Dr. Torioka. Sleep like
Tokioka.
Tokioka. Toki.
Not Torioka.
Not Tori. Toki. I don't know. Magical shopping arcade Abenobashi.
The name is... Alan, do you have a guess? I assume not. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat. That makes for bad radio.
Why y'all say
all the
radio boomer?
Because
Say
we're on the radio. Internet
Nope.
radio.
Just say
Don't you listen to
internet.
Pandora?
No.
I mean,
and nobody
come
else
on.
does either.
Pandora.
Not since iHeartRadio
It's
came out.
the newest
And I can
technology.
get Kelly Clarkson on the constant loop.
You don't need constant loop. You just put in the artist you like, and it plays songs just like it. Anyway, Beyond the Grave was the name.
Yeah, I've never watched that.
Why
Why is that not
I'm
fair?
sorry. That's the name that I blanked out.
Oh, Gungrave.
Yes.
Because you know why it's unfair?
Yep.
Because I'd never watched the first episode.
Yep.
Because you told me not to.
I
You're a
told you
dick.
not to. I'm
You're a
not
dick.
really. I thought
set
you would
me
have
up.
got it anyway.
set me
Mika,
up.
Dr. Tokioka. I set
man.
you up. 20
It's
years
been-
ago, I told you skip the first episode. For this moment, it finally paid off.
How dare you?
He's like, someday I'm going to use that. Someday.
I'm supposed to remember
Someday.
that shit. Now watch.
He finally got
back
to
in
pull that post-it down off of his mirror.
legit
been
watch
there
that
for-
show in like summer of 2004 probably.
Yeah, it was close to 20 years. It's more close to 20 years than not. So,
Yeah.
16 years, motherfucker.
speaking of, you all
I've
should
been
watch
waiting.
that show because it's really good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Alan,
JetBlue. Is JetBlue a show?
I think it's a airline service.
What's that old anime? that
Blue
you
Sub
guys
6.
Blue Sub 6.
Blue what? 6?
Blue Sub
Blue
6?
Sub 6.
No,
Blue
it's like
Submarine
what's
6.
the cop one about RoboCops or whatever? Not RoboCop.
AD,
Appleseed?
please?
No.
Pat Labor?
Something blue. Something blue?
Blue Seed?
Yeah, maybe it's Blue Seed.
I don't think that had cops,
Blue
but I don't
Seed's not
remember.
about cops.
Is there something with cops that has the word like angel in the title?
Angel Cop.
I don't know. I'm tripping. Don't listen to me.
All right, we'll trip on this. Psychics fight with supernatural phenomena that can't be explained by science.
Mob Psycho 100 or Boogie Pop?
I need one answer, please.
Mobs. No.
Did you watch Boogie Pop?
I did. They're not psychic. Mob Psycho 100. Let's just go
Yes.
with that.
Good job.
Okay.
Hold up. What? I would
Yes.
not
That's
have
a
gotten
horrible.
that.
That is a horrible first episode
That
description.
didn't say anything.
That is
Yeah.
psychics fight with supernatural
Who wrote
phenomena
this?
that
Where
can't
are
be
you getting
explained by
these from?
science. You got Reagan and you got Mob. They're psychics and they're fighting supernatural phenomena.
Man, I wouldn't have got that.
That can't
Okay,
be
good.
explained by.
Well, then you can
Wow.
maybe not get this one. Marcus, after saving a child from certain death, he decided to become a hero and trained hard for 3 years.
Oh, One Punch.
Yeah, that one's easy.
That's super easy.
Alan, This one might be funny if Alan doesn't get it. Welcome to the village hidden in the leaves, where deadly serious ninja roam the land and the seriously mischievous blank causes trouble everywhere he goes. Marcus is like, man. But I gave this to Alan on purpose because I knew he may not get it.
Little penis boy, go.
No, that's the sequel. It's the first Shin-Chan, Little Penis Boy.
I love this. Because this just showcases how much of a not into the anime culture that Alan is.
To be fair, I don't know.
I'm trying here, okay?
You're overthinking it, Alan.
Give it to me one more time.
I'm just saying the amount of hints in that one is hilarious.
I intentionally did that because I was like, Marcus is going to know this one, and Alan's not. And it's going to be
just
funny.
The architect of my destruction.
Welcome to the village hidden in the leaves, where deadly serious ninja roam the land and the seriously mischievous blank causes trouble everywhere he goes.
Naruto?
Yes!
Good. I'm very glad that you did not fail that.
Oh, that was good.
I mean, my only hint really was ninjas.
Well, it's one of those things where even if you haven't watched Naruto, people talk about it so much and it's become such a meme that there's just things about it that people know without even watching it.
I still don't know shit about it. All I knew was ninjas, so that was more of a lucky guess than anything. But
hey, you got it right. That's what counts.
I did
That's
it.
what counts.
What matters. All that matters.
Last one.
That's true.
Right.
The last one's for you, Marcus. On her first day of adventuring, the priestess joins 3 other new adventurers on a quest to save some girls who were kidnapped by creatures. Despite being one of the weakest monsters around, the adventurers fall for the traps that they set.
Goblin Slayer, a.k.a. Goblins Be Raping.
Yes, Goblins Be Raping, episode 1.
Which is why I stopped watching that show.
That show took a turn real fast.
Yeah, it's like Berserk. It opens up with just being fucked up. So when people get raped by demons, I'm like, all right, I knew it was coming. This one pretty much opens up like Demon Slayer or something, where it's like, yay, this is gonna be fun. No, it's not.
Yes.
It's not.
You're like, okay, this is a fun adventure show. It's like one of those RPGs come to anime.
Yep.
Nope.
I mean, it is that, but it's a little more than that, too.
Until the goblins attack. Until the goblins attacked. Then the fire goblins attacked and raped us.
Yikes.
Ooh. Yeah, it's intense. I think a lot of people stopped watching it because of that. Or maybe some people kept watching it. I don't know. It depends what you're into.
It's pretty popular. Lots of people watched it. I'm sure there are people like us though that were also kind of like, no thanks.
It's a little much.
Just don't switch that hard. I can take hardcore material. You just have to like open the show up with it being hardcore.
You can't sneak that in on something.
Or at least ease into it. Like show that the goblins are gruesome. And then, like, maybe episode 7 be like, oh, and they do this. You don't start with that. But what do I know? I don't write anime or manga. And that's why I do this podcast. Speaking of this podcast.
Watch the... Wait, is that the song cue or something? You're trying to segue. I'm going to get out of your way.
Prep your Borgs for smorgasing. Because that's what we're going to do. With this anime smorgasbord. So we watched, well, most of us watched 5 shows.
Two out of 3 of us watched 5.
The agreement was for 4, and these people who call themselves my friends and family went behind my back and watched additional material just so they could talk about it without me.
Which one do you guys want to
know
start with?
About these
that's
people?
Because we don't value your opinion. That's why we didn't ask you to watch that.
I never said you should, but I just want to feel included. And between this and Marcus saying that I'm not really that into the community, even though I'm trying.
Well,
hurts.
You didn't know what Naruto was, so And I just said
Naruto?
Naruto.
I'll give him props because he said it right. He said Naruto.
It's
I've
Naruto.
I've heard it say. I'm pretty sure
heard
I
it
said
on Cartoon
Naruto for
Network.
like 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a big thing that people say, "Oh, that's the Naruto run," and they don't even know what Naruto is, but they know what the Naruto run is.
That's true.
I
didn't
laughed
actually
the
mean
first
to say
time I heard
Naruto,
of Boruto. I was like, they seriously named him. They just put a different letter at the beginning of his name, but it's Naruto and Boruto.
Every time
So
I
know
hear
that now.
every time I hear Boruto, I think of that scene from which Adam Sandler movie was that? And he's like, chloroform, more like borophyll. And I think Naruto.
Sounds like
like
Water
Billy
Boy.
Madison.
I think
maybe?
it was Billy Madison because he goes back to school.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
and he's
learning
like
about
science.
things.
Chlorophyll, more like borophyll.
You know
That's
what?
what I
Now
think
that
of
you
every time I
mention.
eat Boruto.
Now that you mention it, Boruto definitely sounds like the bootleg Naruto that would be
Yeah.
the background of
Doesn't it?
another anime.
Yes. And I hear it and I'm like, Naruto, more like Boruto.
The art style is like home movies.
Yeah, it's all squiggly. It's in squiggle vision.
It's like the Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, like just ripping hard on it.
It's oh my god.
It's like this big fat guy trying to be a ninja. It's like Beverly Hills Ninja, but like a cartoon.
That's amazing. That's funny. All right, yeah, what do we want to talk about first?
We can go down the list, or we can start with what Alan didn't watch and go from there.
Yeah, you guys
He
talk
only
about
did-
that. I'm gonna take a quick nap.
Fine,
Okay.
let's do it. Skate Infinity was the first
Skate.
thing that we've watched. Did you say that we watched the first episode of all of these titles that we're going to talk about? Did you already say that?
We watched the first episode. I watched a few additional episodes of the ones that I liked.
Okay. I just watched the first of each of them. So,
And that's fair. Yes. That was the assignment, so to speak. Wow, Alan really just went to take a nap.
I
Okay.
mean, we don't need him. So,
That's true.
it's fine.
So what did you think of it? Skate the Infinity.
Skate the Infinity. I liked it. I didn't really know what to expect going into it. I wasn't super excited to watch it because I'm not really into sport anime at all. That's like the opposite reason of why I watch anime. I don't really look for it to mimic real life. And I'm not into sports at all. But watched it because wanted to talk about it. And I like pretty much everything about it. The art style is great. The main character, he's the right amount of annoying and endearing. Like, he's not so annoying and so stupid that I just hate his guts.
Right.
It's just a little bit to leave room for character growth.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's one track mind, always thinking about skating. And as a person who has skated a lot in the past and still cruises around every once in a while, it was pretty fun for that.
Is
It
that what it's
reminded
like
me
to skate for
in-
real?
no, it's not. It never is. But it was funny because it kind of reminded me of a alternate version of Redline, because the show pretty jumps the shark pretty quick. Like it's like an 80s warrior world meets Redline, where you just have all these weird characters, like the main nemesis guy of the main character. What is his name? What's he called again? I forget.
Oh, he was oh crap. Why can't I
I gotta-
remember? It was something
gotta
like
look-
generic, like Venom or Poison or something like that.
Yeah. He just looked like an 80s villain character.
Right.
All this makeup. He's kind of glammed out. He has like football pad body armor looking stuff on, and he's just being super extra. So I'm like, all right, this show isn't really about trying to encapsulate what real skateboard culture is like. It's just being anime about skating. And so it was fun. It had a lot
Shadow was the guy's name.
Shadow, that's it.
Yeah.
So had a lot of cool character designs, lots of bright colors. It's kind of out there, not trying to be rooted. The part where the out of town kid that moves back to Japan has to skate in the place of some other guy against Shadow, but he doesn't know how to skate. He knows how to snowboard, so he duct tapes his shoes to the skateboard, and then all of a sudden can skateboard good, which, as a person that snowboards sometimes too, I can tell you that wouldn't work.
Those skills don't translate.
Not exactly. There are things, if you know how to do one, you'll be more comfortable learning the other, but you're not going to be like a savant, especially not like duct taping the board to your feet. But it goes with the tone of the rest of the show, just being goofy and extra. So I liked it. I'll probably watch a few more episodes, see if it keeps my interest. It's definitely worth keeping an eye on.
I did watch the second episode too, and I liked it too. The second episode, I think it's still good, but it's not as like captivating is kind of a strong word, because I don't think either episode's captivating. I don't think it's as exciting as the first episode, because he kind of takes a turn back, like after he skates down that hill snowboard style. He goes back to like learning the basics of skateboarding, and I don't know, it's just they're just skating. They're doing a lot of skating. And I watched this with my daughter, who's like learning to skateboard right now. She was watching it, but she can't read the subtitles fast enough. She was just kind of watching it happen, and it was fun to watch her get excited about it, because she's all into skating right now. But the best thing about the show is it kind of captures that like pseudo 90s, like when skateboarding was at like the height of its popularity, and everyone was like super into like the X Games and like Tony Hawk on PlayStation and stuff like that. It almost captures that perfectly in an anime, and then makes it like over the top. And like you said, like the animation's really good, the design's really good. It's Studio Bones, so you know it's like super awesome. But yeah, it's just a cool show. Like the OP and the EP are super good. Even like the middle transition is like really well animated. Like it's not just like a still image like a lot of shows are.
Yeah, it goes on for like 20 seconds or something. And
it's fun. Like the whole show's just fun. Like it's a fun watch, and if you want something that's not like super heavy and just an easy on the eyes and good time, I recommend it.
Yeah, it's funny you said to think about the 90s, because I definitely got y'all remember that movie Airborne?
Is that with the dog that could fly?
You mean Air Bud?
No, it's called Airborne. I think it's called Airborne.
Is that the one that was filmed?
It was filmed in
Cincinnati?
Cincy. Yes.
Really?
That's the one.
Yeah,
that was
I've
filmed
actually
in
seen
Cincy.
that. It's really horrible. It's a bad movie. But
it's probably bad now. At the time, I friggin' loved that movie. Like when it came out.
Is it about skateboarding?
Gulch or whatever they.
So it's about a kid who he's from the West Coast, and he's a surfer.
Oh right.
And then he's for whatever reason he's forced to move to the Midwest, where there's no ocean, it's landlocked. I don't know if in the movie they say they're in Cincinnati or not, but generally the vibe is you're in a landlocked place where you can't board. So he's basically just trying to get his desire for extreme sport out in other ways. So I think he like joins the hockey team or something, and then he has to like do that death skate race down the hills of Cincinnati against the villain jock of the school or whatever. At any rate, this anime gave me those vibes, because it's like you have the kid that's the local that's going to teach you, the ropes or whatever. Then you have the like awkward kid. He's not really awkward. He's more just like hyper stoic. Like he just doesn't talk a lot and doesn't emote a lot, but he's in this new place and he just needs to get a job. But so it was funny because that happens so much in the 90s, where it's like there's a kid that's from somewhere cool and then he moves somewhere uncool, or maybe vice versa. Like he's lame and then he moves somewhere that's awesome, and they got to teach him how to be awesome like everybody else so he doesn't get laughed at. It was that. But then they sprinkled anime all over it and made it fun. So it's a good one. I liked it.
They did. Check it out. Skate with an 8. The Infinity, which is a sideways
looking it up
8.
while you guys were talking about it. I'm like, well, it's not on VRV under Skate. I'm like, well, I guess it's on Funny. Oh, it's not on Funny. Why don't I try SK8? And
yep.
Sure enough.
And you did. Sure enough. All right, next up. Otherside Picnic. Alan,
take it away.
Yeah, you kick this one off since you just watched it.
I literally just watched it like half an hour ago. And then I fell asleep for like 15 minutes. And then I woke up and now I'm doing a podcast. This is my life, people. It was very middle, very medium, smaverage. For me, I wanted to know a little bit more about what the hell was going on. Like, how do these two, like, how did they get here? How did they know how to get here? I don't know. It just
I missed
really...
how the girl with the glasses got there in the first place.
Well, they started. It opens up. She's laying in like shallow water, like she's.
Did they ever say how she got there when they met?
I don't think so.
We don't even know what the other side is at this point.
Yeah.
She just keeps saying true. Like, this was the other side was supposed to be mine alone. Well, maybe it's not so bad. Somebody else is here. Oh, sometimes
I just assume it was some like demon realm or something, or some
I'm pretty sure
alternate
they
reality.
don't explain it. I mean,
I definitely don't know. We don't have a whole picture yet, but like for a first episode, I don't know. I wanted a little more, like maybe pick one of the characters and like kind of set them up a little more and then introduce the other one so that it kind of means something when they have, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I felt the same way. It was just, like the open song was good. The end song was not great. It was just credits and it wasn't very exciting. The premise is solid, like you said. It's great. The problem is, unless I miss something, the way to kill these things is to look at them and shoot them.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Like, first they threw rock salt and then she tried to shoot it, didn't work, but then they tried again to shoot it and it did work, and she had to be looking at it, but you're not supposed to look at it or you go mad, and it's just like, huh?
I just thought it was a really bad way to have your prime enemy be killed, like looking at him shooting. How else are you going to shoot him? You have to look at him, and no one's ever tried that. Like up until now, they're fighting these things. They're just like, oh man, can't look, or maybe I can, and then I'll just shoot it and it'll be fine.
Well, she'd already shot it too, and it like didn't do anything, so it was just like.
But she didn't look at it and shoot it.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was that she looked at it while the other girl shot.
Either way, come on.
Yeah.
If people are supposedly fighting these things, you don't think one person was looking at it and another person was shooting at it at any point in time? Now, you don't know the whole history of this thing, so I'm making some, assumptions here. But overall, I thought it was a pretty weak premise, and it was kind of a weak show. So I'm probably not going to go back to it. You said
the premise was solid.
The premise, I'm sorry. Yes, the premise for the show with the other side and wherever it's called and the little wiggle waggles, which is a stupid name, but, they're basically like bounty hunters, sort of. Not really bounty hunters, but they're collectors trying to make money. I think that's an interesting idea, but also I think the execution's kind of stupid. So.
Yeah, and like when the Tokido or Toki, I forget. Whatever her name is.
Toriko.
Like her proposition to Sorao or Saru is
Sorao, I don't know.
Is kind of weak. She's just like, I'll probably come with me to the other side. We'll make some money, but I might die if I go by myself. It's like, so you should risk your life too. Then we're less likely to die and we might make some money.
I mean, my takeaway was that she was trying to die at the beginning, so she didn't really have a whole lot to lose.
Yeah, maybe.
The girl with the glasses, I mean.
Yeah, they definitely frame her as like a loser, like not like a loser, but a what do you call it?
She's having a rough go of it.
Yeah, introvert, lonely, that kind of
depressed college student is the takeaway. Marcus, what'd you think?
Well, you wanted us to watch this, and I don't know why, because I don't have anything to say about it. So I wrote notes.
I think that's a fair assessment.
On. You wrote notes?
Yeah, so I wrote some notes about what this show made me wonder, which is what makes something good, like especially a first episode. What can make a first episode good? And I broke it down to like our question words that we have in English: who, what, where, why, how. So, who are the characters that can make a show good? I don't care about either one of these girls. Like the one girl, yeah, she's lonely, she's an outcast, and then the other girl's like hyper extrovert, go lucky. So you have that dynamic, but they do that in the most general way. Like these girls have no history, and all of a sudden at the end of the episode they make this bond, but I don't really feel why the bond makes any sense. So who fails for me? What is the premise? Basically, what's the show about? I didn't read any synopsis before I watched this, so I didn't really get, I guess, it didn't all come together cleanly that they're bounty hunters in this world that's the other side. When you're watching it going in fresh, all you know is that there's this thing called the other side, but it's kind of boring there. There's a thing called a wiggle waggle that'll kill you, but I'm not really scared of it because it has a dumb name, one, and two, I don't know exactly what it does to you. The girl just is like, it kills you. I'm like, okay, I guess.
You go
it makes
mad
you crazy.
if you look at
drives
it
you
for
mad.
too long.
Right.
Yeah.
The where so yeah, what fails? Where is the world? Like I said, the world is boring or otherwise confusing because they go from the other side to whatever's not the other side, and you assume the not other side is the real world, but you never actually see them go from one place to another. At least I don't remember you seeing them do it. And it's kind of inexplicable. She makes it seem like, oh, the door might open again. Oh, but if I go through it, that place is bad. I'm like, but that place looks like the normal world. Are there more than one world? Like,
well, once they were in that elevator, it kind of got confusing as to.
Oh, I forgot about the elevator scene. Yeah, because they were together. They were in the cafeteria, which I guess is at their school.
Right, because she's in college. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't even know she was in college. They don't really, not that it matters, but they don't really say that she's in college.
She hints at that if she died, the only people who would notice is the administration.
She was talking about tuition and stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
When she didn't pay her tuition, which is
and loans
pretty
and
depressing.
stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, you can infer that. So that just kind of flew over my head. I guess that's not a problem. But yeah, the world's confusing and nothing really interesting happens. The only thing that happens is they encounter the wiggle waggles, but that encounter wasn't even cool because it was like the first time the girl threw the rock salt. She was like, "What did you do?" She was like, "I don't know. I just threw rock salt and it worked." Okay.
But they never showed that, and she did it again. And it was
good thing I carry rock salt around with me.
Yeah, and then the second time they do it, it's like, I gotta look at it while you shoot it. Make sure you do it. Oh, I'm done. So the world fails. That's also the win too, but the win doesn't really matter here.
Right.
And then how I put under like how the story is told. So you can do art style, animation, music, mode of the storytelling, mood, all of that jazz. It's like how's a really, really big category. Animation's fine. I kind of like how it looks. So that's something. But not enough interesting things happened with how it looks that made me go, I want to just keep looking at this. Like SK8 the Infinity, not much really happened, but it was so fun to look at because the skate scenes were very kinetic. They had a lot of colors. It was just goofy and crazy in a very good way that engaged you. It was very engaging to watch. This was like, it's just drab, and the main character's drab. So yeah, it looks pretty good, but I don't really care that much. Music, no comment really. I can't even remember the music, so I'm not gonna diss it or anything. And yeah, just the mode of storytelling is so fragmented to the point where it's not intriguing. It's just annoying because they're not telling me enough. Like they're not giving me one thing to sink my teeth into.
It's nothing really new either. It's just, these aren't super original concepts like going out and killing something for money. It's about as bland a story as it can get, and there's a little bit of mystery behind the Otherside world, but yeah, I mean, for a first episode, it didn't grab the attention like it should have.
Yeah, so
there's no stakes. Like, there's no stakes. The stakes are their own making in that they're going there and killing these things and coming back to get money. But it doesn't seem like anything. There's no dire situation, at least, except
and then
that she doesn't want to live.
Yeah, and then you don't even understand like how the economy works, because they're talking about we're collectors and we can get a bunch from these cubes that we found. And I'm like, but who though? Y'all haven't talked to anybody else in the whole world.
Right.
Like, the chick sits alone at lunch. It's like, are there other people in your school that also go to this other side? Or is that economy only on the other side? So you have to collect things, go back there, and then find people to sell stuff to. Like, you aren't given anything. Now, I'm not saying you have to be given everything up front. There's a lot to good world building that leaves things to be desired. But you got to give me something that makes me want to know what the rest of the things are. There's not one thing in that episode that I left with that I'm like, I want to know what's going on with that.
And there's not even a cliffhanger. There's nothing that says like, oh, I got to watch this next episode. It's like, okay, that was like, a thing.
Yeah, we're like, yeah, we're friends now. I'm not alone. Which, I mean, if you're touchy-feely, and I'm not saying it's wrong to be that way. If you're touchy-feely, and I guess if you can relate to the main character, then maybe it's for you, but I don't really relate to the main character at all. So the last category, why, it's like, why'd I watch this? I don't know.
Because AJ.
Because AJ.
Because I asked you to. Thank you. You gotta try them all. We keep saying we need to expand our horizons as far as anime goes.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. It's true. But yeah, I personally, I wouldn't recommend it. It seems like one of those slow burners, and the three of us, we're not about that life anymore. Give us like a good 12
slow burns.
Yeah, give us a good 12 to 26 episode anime, and we're all in on that.
Yep. Hope you guys like it, but we don't. Next up.
What's next?
Heaven's Design Team. I'll start this off because I like this show a lot. It's fun. It's not too heavy. The only thing I don't like about it is there's no real like overarching plot. It's just it's episodes that happen. Surprisingly educational.
Yeah.
Interesting premise. Bright colors, and the style's fun. I like all the characters. Like, all the characters have a lot of back and forth. And there's just like key scenes in each episode. I watched 2 episodes. Both of them have key scenes that are just fun to watch. Like, the characters are basically like competing with the designs that they have. I guess I should give the premise. The premise is that God has outsourced creation of animals to a team of designers who are humans, essentially. They're angels, but they're basically just people. And so they're all just trying to come up with different ways how they create the animals. And so they go through like the design phases of an animal. So one guy like created the horse, and that was like his thing that he created. And his whole story, his whole character now is trying to iterate on that horse design. And they keep shutting him down. Like, no, you can't put wings on a horse. The horse is too heavy. You'd have to make his bones hollow like a bird in order to do that. And then he would just collapse on himself. Or the unicorn. You can't put a horn on him because to make a horn, you'd have to have more than one stomach. And they explain it like scientifically. It's very interesting. So yeah. I actually learned a lot from this show. And it's a good show. And if my kids could read subtitles quickly, I would show it to my kids. There's a few things that
dub
might censor, but yeah, the dub would be good. But it's a fun show. I liked it.
Yeah, I just echo pretty much everything you said. This, of the 5 shows that you and I watched, AJ, is my favorite of all of them. Like, I freaking love it. It's it caught me by surprise too, because this is definitely not a thing that's in my wheelhouse at all. Like, if I were to be scrolling through all of the artwork on Funimation or Crunchyroll, it's on Crunchyroll, I would just skip past it so fast. But
yep.
since we were trying to watch some new stuff and like, see what's hot for the winter, we watched it. And I think my favorite part is the fact that God just, his work orders are so funny. Because his first one is basically, all right, we got another work order. We need an animal that can eat the leaves off of tall trees. There's no why. There's no rationale. It's just God wants this animal. It's so great. It's just like he's this almighty being that just has whims of like, this one, that one. And then they go through the whole process of coming up with a giraffe. And like you said, AJ, it's actually cool because I thought going into it, having read the synopsis, that this was just going to be a show where they're making bullshit animals like Pegasus and unicorns and Loch Ness Monster or whatnot. But the fact that they don't, and they literally have an engineer that builds prototypes that she can test, and then we'll come back and say, you can't make it like this because like the heart will fail, or it won't be strong enough.
The blood won't pump to the head and it won't be able to live.
Exactly. So yeah, it's fun. And then another favorite thing of mine was the fact that two of the guys have this rivalry. One of the guy like bullies the other guy and all the time and treats him like shit. So he made a snake that would eat the bird eggs of the other designer. So he's freaking out like, oh, I need to come up with something that to protect my precious bird eggs. So he tries and doesn't get anything to work. And then he ends up just saying, screw it, and makes a bird that eats snakes. And the idea that animals were created because of this like lighthearted feud that these angels are having up in heaven, like that's amazing. Like this show is great. It's freaking such a novel idea. Like it's bright and colorful and just super cute. It's a fun show. I'm going to watch more of it.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed this show for the same reasons. I also think that it would be a really good show for like someone who's never watched anime to try and get them into anime, because like it's the kind of concept where like you could imagine like a show. I think about like the show The Good Place. I get maybe because it's like about God and heaven or whatever, but just like, something like, oh, how do they design the animals? It's like, well, let's explore that, and there's probably a lot of humor in that. But like taking a concept that like could be like a very Western show, but like delivering it through like anime tropes and anime humor with like the sudden rises in intensity with like approved, and there's like the stamp and the picture of the animal on the screen. And it's just like, yeah, this is anybody could have had this idea, but it's we get it in an anime flavor. It was really, really entertaining and just fun. I like how like you mentioned the giraffe, like, oh, it needs to eat leaves high up, and like it's a giraffe, but they kind of make you guess for seconds, like, oh, it's not gonna giraffe. Like they start with a really long necked deer, and they're like, oh, well, it would pass out from its neck, to have pump blood through a neck that's 2 meters long or whatever, or 6 meters. It'd have to have a 1-ton heart. It's like, wow, that's really interesting. And then they have these little segments where it's like animated or illustrated guide to real life animals. And they talk about the giraffe. It actually has an organ in its head that stores extra blood so that when it bends way down to drink water, it doesn't pass out, which I didn't know that. So I learned a lot
from these shows.
Yeah, you learn a lot, and it's amusing, and it's just this like, great take on this.
It's genuinely
idea.
funny. Like
it is.
I watch anime, and people are like, "Oh, that show's funny," and I watch it, and I'm like, I don't even crack a smile most of the time. But this one is actually genuinely, it makes me smile.
Yeah,
because the shenanigans they get into are just fun and interesting, and the second episode has some back and forth with some water mammals, and it's basically like a squid fighting against like a dolphin, and then they keep going back and forth, and then like it's interesting because each one keeps getting approved, so there's always an animal that like takes the place of another animal back and forth. It's great. It's definitely a show that I highly recommend, and I'm gonna keep watching it for sure.
Yeah, and like the first thing the giraffe does, like the final design for the giraffe, like it bites a bird out of the sky as it flies.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And like the bird, the bird that's supposed to kill the snake, and like they show the bird and it's like stomping on the snake and kicking it. It's like kicking the shit out of this snake.
Yeah. And the snake designer guy is freaking out
Yeah.
about the whole thing. Yeah, it's great.
And then the Pegasus one, they were like, the only way the Pegasus would work is if the horse was super muscular and pooped constantly. So
I forgot about the poop thing.
they animate that, and it's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. Like the premise is like, oh, how can this be funny? But they get about as clever as you can imagine.
They nailed it. It's awesome.
No, they did a really great job. It's a great idea. Very entertaining. I'm gonna keep watching it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just feeling good talking about the episode, remembering all the fun
I'm
stuff
smiling
that
talking about it. I'm gonna go watch more when we're done here.
I think when this one finishes, we should do an episode completely dedicated to it because it's so good.
Yeah, see where we're at like 6 episodes in or something.
Yeah, I'm down.
It can't get old. It's gonna stay fresh the whole time.
What else do we have? Okay, we've got
We've got 2 more. I'm saving the stinker for the last.
Okay, all right.
All right, so the next one is
Spider.
Yeah, so I'm a spider. So what? I'll kick it off. This one's fine. I mean, I didn't laugh out loud. It's entertaining. Spider character herself. So the premise is a student is reincarnated as a spider, and so her first day as a spider is basically being surrounded by thousands of other tiny spiders, and then she gets into it with a frog, and she's leveling up because it's a video game anime. What are those called?
Isekai?
I can't remember
Well,
isekai.
all right, so here's a misconception.
Okay.
The video game thing isn't necessarily isekai.
Right.
Isekai,
Even
really
I know
just
that, AJ.
Whatever.
isekai really just means you get transported to another world. However, it is a trend today that a lot of isekai, when you get transported to that other world, it is a video game scenario.
And you're reincarnated as something else, right?
I mean, no, not necessarily. I mean,
Okay.
that's a smaller trend that's also happening. But I'm saying the larger trend is like there are a bunch of anime now where it's like you're either playing an actual video game or you get sent to a world that operates like a video game. So, you got like your Log Horizons and your Rise of the Shield Hero. And actually, here's a good example of one that's not. Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Technically is in an isekai, as far as I believe, because the guy isn't transported to that world. It's just the world he lives in.
Well, what if in this case, this person is in the same world, but just now happens to be a spider?
I feel like she's in a different world because the show starts, she's like in high school.
Right.
For like
It's
2
not
seconds
clear.
before she becomes a spider. So I'm willing to call it an isekai because I feel like she was in one world and now all of a sudden she's in this other world as a spider.
Yeah, world is not necessarily limited to like your physical world either. I mean, if it's new to you,
Yeah,
it's a whole new world.
But so this is a Studio Millipensi. It looks like Millipenis, which is smile. So they did the new Berserk, and they also did Wake Up Girls and a few other things that I didn't recognize. I don't think the animation's too bad. I think the spider animation, it's the 3D style, which, hit or miss. I think it's not distracting, so I'm okay with it. I haven't watched any other reincarnation shows or isekai shows, so I can't really compare it a whole lot. But I had the opportunity to watch episode 2 and I chose not to. So whatever that tells you, I mean, it didn't capture me right off the bat. So I probably won't go back to this one.
Yeah, it's not really our bag. I don't really watch like shows like this, but it was interesting for me just to see like how a show like that might present itself. And I did. I mean, I watched the whole thing. I wasn't bored. I was just like, okay. And the way they kind of introduce her situation is like, all of a sudden she hears this voice in her head, like, would you like to get this ability for 100 points? And she's like, what? Okay, sure. Yeah, that's going to be super useful. And the whole time she's kind of like metagaming where she's like, oh, if this were a light novel, I would have I should get the appraisal skill. And that's when the voice starts to talk to her. And
that part was funny. I did like that part.
Yeah, so it's an interesting way to kind of like reveal the world or like explain her situation. But it's also that kind of like super cutesy, like hyper energetic kind of
in an obnoxious way.
Yeah, more like what like ridiculous anime that you kind of imagine for people that like don't watch anime. They would be in like, oh, that's weird, or it's too like cutesy or too, I don't know. But I mean, it was fun. I don't know if I'll watch anymore. It's not. I don't think it's for me. But yeah, it was an interesting for something different that I wouldn't normally watch.
Yeah, I think I feel like you guys, where I don't watch a lot of those shows either. I mean, especially because I'm just tired of the trend of we're in a world that works like a video game. The thing that this has going for it, though, is it treats it in a more humorous way. It's not quite as tongue-in-cheek as Heaven's design team, but I'd say like a notch or two below that. So when she is trying to figure out how the world works, it has entertainment value because it's funny, because there's a joke behind it. Like when she gets the appraisal skill and then she appraises everything and it's like Captain Obvious. She'll like appraise the thing and it'll say rock, wall, and then it won't say anything else. So that's pretty funny, which kind of makes the whole thing interesting to keep watching.
Did she get acid resistance level 2 twice? I feel like she did.
Yeah, she got 2 levels of acid resistance.
Well, she got 1 and then she got 2 and then I think she got 2 again. I feel like they said level 2 twice.
Maybe they did. I don't know. I don't remember.
Anyway, sorry to
interrupt. The thing that y'all haven't mentioned yet, which is a reason why I do want to continue to watch it, is that the story kind of shifts at the last half of the episode.
Right.
And you're in
I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
You're in this banquet, and then you're meeting all of these people. There's like a couple of kids that are royalty, and I guess it's like the opening ceremony for a school is what it appears to be. And so these characters are interacting, and I like how they all look. It looks very like kind of Sword Art Online-ish, cross between Rising of the Shield Hero, which, I mean, I like the style of both of those shows. So good to look at from that standpoint. And then over the course of the story, this is an example of like how you don't tell everything, but you tell the audience enough to be interested.
Right.
Through their conversation, you're finding out like, oh, all of these people seem to be reincarnations. So this whole world seems to work on reincarnations. Yeah. And
they do,
like I said,
in the beginning where like it's basically a cataclysm. Like they don't even show her face. She's just in high school. And then all of a sudden there's like this bright light and an explosion. So, like, it might have been the whole world.
Right. We don't know.
Right.
And and the thing I appreciate about that is they spend no time in high school. Like, we've seen that shit.
Yeah.
We've seen the whole half of an episode set up. Like,
it's about 30 seconds. And then
this is Kikuki, and she's popular in school, and the boys like her. And there's that one kid, Poji, who stinks, and blah, blah, blah. And then we didn't need to do any of this. Like,
Poji.
Because none of those characters matter after the first 10 minutes.
Exactly. So they just go, we're going to show you a vignette of them in school, and then all of a sudden, bam. What? Why am I a spider? And she's trying to figure out everything. So that's cool.
And then while she's a spider, they kind of flash back to her life. So you get the idea that she's kind of a loner. She likes to play video games, and that's kind of what she does. And they just do simple flashbacks, 10 or 15 seconds, and boom, you know what you need to know.
Exactly. So I don't think I liked it. I might have said I liked it more than you guys, but I don't think that's true. But I is seemingly more interested than you guys just because that last part makes me want to know what's going on in this world more. I don't know if I'll go ahead.
I wouldn't even have cared about those characters except like the part of the OP is like those characters like doing some badass like combat moves because they're all like more traditional fantasy like anime designs, like swords and shields and stuff, and magic elf looking wizards. So I'm like, oh, and the animation that they show you is really good, and like it's really violent, kind of like it kind of off the tone that it kind of sets for itself.
Right. So
go ahead.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I really want to see how all of that more traditional, like fantasy anime stuff lines up with this crazy, overactive girl that's now a spider. Like, I want to see those two things mesh. Not really because I have high hopes for it, but it's pure curiosity. I'm genuinely interested to see where the show goes.
I'm not interested enough to keep watching unless people come back and say, hey, this show's really good. You should check it out.
Yeah, I'll let you boldly go.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know. I mean, it might be another Shield Hero for me. I mean, I started out watching Shield Hero. I think I got 6 episodes in and was like, I don't hate it, but it's pretty basic. So same thing might happen here, but as far as first episodes go, it was a pretty good one, I think.
All right.
Now,
last and
drum
certainly
the coup de grace, coup de glow.
Definitely the least.
Can we talk about X-Arm? What the fuck is
that?
X-Arm?
Those 3 words sum up X-Arm.
What? This is a troll anime. Like somebody was trolling somebody. Like someone is trying to besmirch the good name of anime by putting
somebody
this into
lost
the world.
A bet.
No, it wasn't. They had to know that the decisions they were making were very bad decisions. Somebody knew. Somebody chose not to say anything, or I don't know. It's just okay. You don't mix computer animation and traditional hand-drawn animation in the same scene. Like there's 2 people. One is computer animated, one is not. Like, how fucking stupid.
See, I was holding out because I was like, okay, they're doing this because there's some story element to it.
No.
Like, the 3D guy is a cyborg
matter.
and
Nothing
the
is
2D
worth
guy's not. But that's not even the case. Because there's so many other characters that are all 3D and just like one guy is drawn in 2D.
But it doesn't matter because those scenes, that guy wasn't a cyborg yet or android or whatever he is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
He wasn't a cyborg, so why was he in 3D?
Right.
And even so, like, I'm not a designer. I've never done 3D animation. I've never done 2D animation. But even I know you don't mix art styles like that. It's so much
unless it's on purpose. Like, it has to be purposely bad.
There's a lot of blends out there where like some things are 3D, some things are 2D, and with varying degrees of success or smoothness to it. This felt like they had a team of people. It was like, we got a couple of computer animators and we got a couple of artists. Let's see what we can do.
My cousin Joe wants to be on the team, but
and my cousin Joe already wrote it.
This
like
guy.
My 14-year-old cousin like wrote this story already. And then another thing, all the 3D characters, their eyes are stuck in this like wide open position and they never change. It's like they didn't know how to change the faces on the 3D models, so they just didn't try or didn't bother. And
I think that's supposed to indicate who's an android and who's not, because I think it's just the main guy and then the white-haired girl. Because the dark-haired girl who's a human, I thought that
her eyes are stuck looking stupid the whole time. They all have the deer in headlights look the entire show, and you're just like, you look so stupid. Like this looks like it looks like some like a team of college students like made an anime for like a scene, like a design project, like a final project for an anime intro to anime animation course. Which, like, for, you know, if that were the case, then good for them. They did a great job, but not for an actual commercial release.
So,
yeah.
A bit of backstory. The guy who directed this has never directed anime before. He's a bad movie director, and he does, like, kung fu movies or, like, action movies. So, and you can kind of see it, like, kind of the way he kind of frames the action and animates them he's doing it like an action movie. So like the movements look like something could be there, but they just didn't finish it.
The physics are fucked. Like the physics
are fucked. Yeah, but like the movements, like the kind of the moves, like how they'll slide underneath the leg and they're doing the kicks and the punches, and it looks like a good fight scene in like a John Wick movie or something.
The ideas are there.
But you can't do that in a 3D anime and not have some element of stylization. You can't just mocap and throw it up on a screen and be like, "Oh, we're done."
Well, no, it looked like they didn't mocap.
Look like it was mocapped.
It was not mocapped. They should have.
It looked like it was badly mocapped.
Well, I mean, even like bad mocap,
either way,
you can still tell. Like this was bad computer animation. Like, you could tell some of the ideas were there, like, oh, that could have been cool, but it just feels like...
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
It feels like PlayStation 1, like, animation.
From a, like, storyboarding perspective, the way the fight scenes played out, like, it looks like he has experience doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It just didn't translate to anime.
Yeah, there's the animators just couldn't make it look convincing. They couldn't do it justice.
What my wife said was, because she was watching it over my... Actually, she wasn't watching it over my shoulder. I was freaking out so hard that I made her watch it. Because I was like, you have to see this. Oh, my God. But she was like, this looks like it's trying to be Ruby and failing really hard.
I like that you brought that up, because I was thinking of Ruby and the guy who worked on that, Monty Ohm. I think he passed away.
R.I.P.
He made an animation a long time ago that was like Master Chief versus Samus or something.
Haloid.
And that was like,
it was amazing.
I don't know, 2000, 2001.
Mm-hmm.
That project is 100 times better than what you get with X-Arm.
Yeah, and the reason it's better is because he actually understands not necessarily just the bare bones of choreography, what the movements are, what martial arts to use or how the characters interact, but he also understands how to build a fight scene as far as like camera work. What angles are you showing? How can you take advantage of camera work to like synergize with movements that they're actually doing? And since it is animation, let's make them fight fucking fast. You know, like, let's make them do things that human beings can't do. That's why Haloid was so cool, because you see Master Chief and Samus just doing things that are incredibly crazy. So it doesn't matter that these look like PlayStation 1 graphics and these models are really crude facsimiles of Samus and Master Chief. Doesn't matter, because he did it right. Like, what he was presenting in and of itself was interesting, and then on top of that, he presented it in a way that was interesting. This is like you're saying, it's almost like storyboards, like proof of concept. Like, this is the bare form of what we're gonna offer you. This fight scene that is super slow, super stiff, no interesting camera angles, and the way that, like, even when the android chick throws like a punch or a kick, it doesn't even feel like it has any oomph. Like, it doesn't feel like it's connecting and doing damage. It literally does feel like somebody's moving computer models in space into one another. It's just really bad.
Yeah.
And on top of that, to just go away from the visual aspect, everything was odd about it. Everything. Like the way that they cut scenes was odd. Like how they would a character would be at the end of a sentence, then the next scene they're in the middle of an action that they didn't set up. It's like I don't know how they got there.
Yeah.
Like what? They were just sitting down talking and now all of a sudden they're running.
Yeah.
And it's not like a comedic smash cut to make it awkward so it's funny. It's just weird. It's just, why did you do it like that? And then the tone doesn't make any sense because you don't know whether or not to take it seriously or if it's comedic. It's just bad. It's all bad. Like, I was fascinated by this.
I laughed harder
so
at this
horrible.
show than I did the Spider show because it was so ridiculous. There's a scene where the dude's getting hit with bullets and they have that little ripple effect.
That
and then it just disappears.
Sucks. That's
Who
what
did that?
That's what I made my wife watch. I was like, look at this shit. Look.
Who looked at that and was like, this is good to go. Push it out the door.
Green light. Yeah, no,
it was
I
bad.
couldn't even, like, there's some things that are so bad you watch it just to laugh at it. I couldn't. I was angry. I watched like half of it and I was just like,
funny.
God, this is fucking awful. And then I
Alan,
came back. I was like, I'm just gonna power through it. And I watched like another 2 minutes and I was just like, I gotta fucking stop because I'm so frustrated with this shit. And
you mentioned the faces, Alan. There was a scene
God.
where the dude's like strangling the girl, the cop girl, and
She has,
she's
like,
literally
no-
smiling
Yeah.
while she's being strangled. She's like, with
Yeah,
a
it
big
was
old
bad.
smile on her face. No changes in facial expression.
it looks like a fucking like ransom note of an anime. Like they just have all these little snippets of things. They just like, oh, here's all the shit. Like here, let's sweep all the stuff on the cutting room floor into a dustpan and try to make a fucking show out of it.
I think I said out loud, "Stop with that shit." When they did the 2D and 3D animation, like after the credits had run, they did that. Oh,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's like it. You would think it would be the other way around. Like, okay, we're on a budget or a time crunch or whatever. We've already got a canned like walking animation for this like throwaway character who's in like one scene. Let's just use it. But no, the main characters are 3D. They look notably worse than the drawn characters. And they're just standing there looking stupid and like far away and detached while, this other person's talking. I'm like, you look normal, you look weird, and I hate this.
you know what makes me laugh even more is the opening has like 7 characters. And I'm like, I will never know these characters because I can't watch this show. It's so terrible.
It was funny because during the opening, I didn't know whether or not it was real. I didn't know. And what I mean by that is I'm watching it and I'm like, all right, this feels shitty, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because when
And
they
that was just
introduced
the
all
beginning. I feel shitty, but
Yeah, I mean, because sometimes I'll do that where I'll watch a show and I'm like, this doesn't seem that impressive. Or it'll be the second season and I'm watching the second opening and maybe I don't feel like the second opening is as good as the first. So I'm like, is it as good? Actually, you know what? Perfect example, One Punch Man Season 2. One Punch Man Season 2.
I was
the
gonna say
first couple
Devil May Cry
episodes-
too, but that's like the same level of like disappointment.
Yeah, pretty much. Where the first couple episodes, you're like, is it? And then by
You're
the
not
third, you're
convinced
like,
that it's bad.
Right. You're still waiting. So for the opening, each one of those characters they introduce, they have them do like their cool action poses and scenes, and they're
Right.
like throwing kicks and stuff. And that's the first time I'm like, all right, that kick looked not anatomical at all, but it was a really quick. It happened really quick. The character was only on the screen for like a half a second. So I don't know. And then the show starts and then everything that you guys have brought up with the 2D and the 3D. And it's just like, I don't understand why anything is happening the way it's happening. I don't understand the lines or the story or the characters. None of it. It's so baffling, so fascinatingly bad. This
Yeah.
is probably the best thing I've seen this year. It's so bad that I like the episode ends. My wife said you were laughing the whole time. Like I thought you were enjoying it.
Just
I'm
the,
like,
the audacity of a group of humans to like look at this and then say, yeah, put it out, go ahead.
It's the
like,
third decade of the
who-
21st century. This should not pass for something that could go on a major site like Crunchyroll.
no,
Yeah.
not when you're up against like even shit that I think is terrible. So the studio Millipenis or whatever it's called that you said did Saw I'm a Spider.
Yeah.
They did Berserk, the Berserk new anime that came out in like 16 or 15. I can't remember
2016,
which.
I think.
Like I stopped watching that because that was bad, right? But at least it was believable that it was still a show.
Yeah.
Like I was never caught in this twilight zone of fascination with how bad it was. It was like this is a finished product. It's just not a good finished product. Yeah, X-Arm, it is completely what the fuck. I couldn't. And it's funny. This is my Akudama. I'm not gonna keep watching it, but I had so much fun watching this shit because I was so baffled I couldn't look away
Well, like
from it.
the
I'm
only
like,
thing that's baffling about Akudama is the story.
no, and I'm saying like you kept watching it
Yeah.
because you were like, I don't think it's good, but I want to know more.
But like also,
So-
no, I did think the art was good. I liked the style and
okay, fair.
the art and the color palette. Like all that was like was interesting to me. I was like, oh, I can do with more of that. Like whatever. The story's just whatever. We'll see how crazy it gets. But this,
Okay, that's a fair point.
but this is just it's just confusion. It's just 25 minutes of absolute confusion and frustration.
I started to watch the second episode
Why?
because
I'm morbidly
And I-
curious too.
I wanted to know, and I got like 2 minutes in. I'm like, this is just.
I cannot stop.
It could be a show that you could watch just to laugh at it because of how bad it was, but it only goes for so long. Like the first
I gotta
episode
do
was
it with-
enough of that.
I can't get.
See, I got to do it with friends. I can't do it by myself.
That's
like
what
if
it was.
I
If
Like,
we
can't
end
get
up
the
getting
image-
together, we got to watch the rest, or at least some more of it. But by
Yes.
myself, I can't do it.
I can't get
One
the
was
image of his
enough.
stupid, like, lifeless eyes. All of them. Their stupid, lifeless eyes out of my head. And I'm just like, move. Their eyes do not move the entire time. It's like, I'm going to kill you. No change in their facial expression. None whatsoever. They're fighting. They're getting punched. They're getting knocked down on the floor. Their eyes are just wide as they can be, straight ahead. I don't even think their pupils move. Like, they don't even look around. And like the reason is they're androids. Fuck out of here.
I was deceived because I thought this show was good, and I read an article headline, and this is the definition of clickbait, and it was X-Arm fans can't stop talking about X-Arm's animation. And when you read that, you're like, oh, it must be really good.
Yeah, the headline I read
No.
was like, are surprised
bad.
with the quality. Which I was
Surprised
like,
with the quality,
oh,
yeah.
how is it? Wait,
That's
how
what
is
it
this
was.
bad? And I was like, oh, I get it now.
Neither one
they
of those
got me.
headlines lied to you.
No, they didn't.
They
Now
didn't.
the-
You're right. I deceived myself.
That is
I
the
guess.
spin machine at work.
Oh, I'm not watching any more of it unless it's with friends. But oh my gosh, that was great. It was such a great experience.
Shaking my
I
damn
felt like,
head.
I felt like I was on drugs or something. It was like, is this a 4chan series? Like it has to be. Like
This was made by Twitch.
like we have to be getting trolled right now. Like it's that bad. It's that bad. So
No,
Not
yeah,
to
it's
mention
a-
that,
it is a troll anime.
I had to mention the fruity punk rock music at the beginning to
yeah.
complement the horrible animation. It was
Yeah, the
that just
opening
made
song
things
was
worse.
terrible. It was
Terrible.
bad.
And that was just like that was the turd on the poop sundae that was X-Arm.
What if Crunchyroll pulls it? That would be hilarious.
Oh my gosh, I think they should.
Yeah.
This is a Crunchyroll original?
I'm pretty sure it is. So they're not going to pull it if it's an original.
I think they have to save their name. This is awful.
Yeah.
I mean, they have plenty of other Crunchyroll original titles that
I know, but
are being successful right now. So
Studio Visual Flight, first production.
last
Yeah,
production.
y'all-
Yeah.
Last
if there's
production
if there's
ever.
any justice in the universe, these people will never be allowed to make anything again. At least not together. Like, you walk away, you forget it ever happened, you burn the evidence, and you try to
Go work on a real team, get
try
some
to
real
move on with your
experience
life.
animating, and then come back. Maybe in like 10 years after you've worked with real studios, come back together and make a real anime.
Yeah.
I think everybody needs a reassessment though, because like even the writing is terrible. Everything, top to bottom, soup to nuts, all of it's bad. It's all bad. The
There's
writing,
one
the
moment where
editing,
she's
the
like-
direction.
She's on that barge and she's like shooting dudes and dodging bullets, and like that action scene had the potential to be cool if it was done in another way.
Well, that was the scene that Faith said this looks like it's trying to be Ruby, but it's failing because all of the components were there, like the general choreography was there of what they wanted to happen, but the execution on all fronts was so bad and rudimentary. It's and the thing that pisses me off the most is look at the promotional art. The promotional art is sick. It looks good.
Even the art at the very end of the episode while the credits are running,
Yeah.
it's pretty good. But
And it's like that. The show don't look like that. Change it now.
make it what this is.
Yeah.
Oh man, how did they? What's the source on that? Was it originally a manga?
I'm not sure actually. I think so.
I'm gonna look it up.
Let's look it up.
Looking it up. It's really hard to look up for some reason. X Arm.
Yep,
is
this is manga series. Yep.
manga. Maybe that's worth.
2011
Here's
to 2013. It's only 2 volumes too.
I think
Well,
this
the
is
original
the website.
No, the
I
original
hate,
run is.
but the title of this article is X-Arm's awful trailer proves why anime should be made by animators.
Yeah, I didn't even realize there's an error in the trailer.
Yeah. I mean that clip. We should find a way to share this.
I'm
clip
gonna-
with
I'm
people.
gonna
throw it
tweet
up,
that
Throw it
out.
up on the Twitter, yeah, because that
I will.
it sums it up better than any of this. Like all of our anger is justified, and people need to know. But that little clip just sums it up.
Let's
better
all
than
laugh
we
at their poor work together.
I'm sorry. I feel bad for all of them. Feel bad for them. But
Don't put out shitty work.
I mean,
This is the cyberpunk
baffled,
of anime.
Man. I'm so baffled.
it's
I
not.
can't stop being baffled.
It is the cyberpunk.
well, it is and it isn't.
It is. I mean, you could salvage it. You could go back and for
Cyberpunk-
the Blu-ray,
Cyberpunk, if
completely
they
redo the animation.
No. Cyberpunk, they just
No,
needed more time. They were, it was corporate shenanigans and whatever and mismanagement of talented people.
What do you think this is?
Of talented people. There is no
they have
talent.
no talent.
There
Okay,
is
that's
no
the
talent
difference.
here, at
The
least
other
not that
problem
was
too
able
is
to shine through.
the other problem too is Cyberpunk had years, an inordinate amount of time of build up to expect something great. So it's like you're eating a bunch of food that's good, and then you just have this monster shit that's coming, and then it happens, and it's like, oh my gosh, that was horrible. This was like you were going about your day, everything was normal, and then all of a sudden it just hits you, and you just have diarrhea, and you're like, where did that come from? Like,
This is eating a pint of blueberries, and you get that one real nasty one that
Ugh.
tastes like a foot.
because I don't know
it
if
ruins
people
the
were
whole
waiting.
thing.
Were people actually waiting for this one? Were they
I
excited?
think some people were. I don't know. Somebody was waiting for it, and they got it. They probably weren't happy.
All I know is I enjoyed watching this more than Otherside Picnic. I was just freaking out the whole time.
At least
It was fun to watch.
I don't think it was fun to watch. It was frustrating. It was maddening to watch. It was like
It made me excited to
it was
talk
like
about
it's a train wreck. You can't look away because you're just like, oh my god, how could it possibly be this bad? But like I have that thing where I get embarrassed for people. Like I was like nervous, sweating while I watched this. I'm like, somebody put their name on this, and
Yeah.
and now they have to come. You gotta come back from this. How will you do it?
I don't. That's their problem.
This studio can't be solvent after this.
Yeah,
There's
you
no
just
way.
have to
Just
shut the doors, start something new, and just forget.
burn
that
it,
ever
walk
happened.
away.
Yep.
Cool, man.
Well. Yep. That's our first ever Smorgas-Borg of anime. Winter
Smorgasborg.
seasoned edition.
Are we going to be doing more of these? Is that why you?
I think we should do one every season.
We could do once every quarter. Just check out the first episode of the most anticipated stuff.
It feels really cool to
I
say
need
that you
that.
do something quarterly. So let's do it quarterly.
Yeah.
Quarterly. So the takeaway is Skate and Heaven's design team, good.
Watch those.
X-Arm
Definitely.
bad, and everything else, meh.
Meh. Depends what you're into.
Yeah.
That's what you're into.
But
I got background noise, so
watch
I'm just gonna
X-Arm
stop
just so
talking
you
for
can be a
second.
part of this moment in in the community where everyone's shitting on this show.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I wouldn't want to miss it. This is going to be a meme for years.
It's one of those things where like, yeah, how bad could it be? Imagine and then actually watch it and see how much worse it is than you could have possibly imagined.
This is going to be
you
the
don't
show
know.
where people go, hey, remember X-Arm? And everybody just starts
Yeah,
laughing.
it'll be one of those things where you just walk in a room and say X-Arm and everybody starts laughing.
You know what? I'm going to go to the Crunchyroll headquarters like every once in a while, which I'm not going to, but I'm going to. And I'm going to just be like, hey, remember X-Arm?
Take the Crunchyroll studio tour and wear a I Remember X-Arm t-shirt.
Just have a bunch of X-Arm paraphernalia on.
So you like X-Arm? I fucking love it, man.
Like, when's the next season coming out, guys? Shit was
Everyone's just
great.
like pretending like they don't see you.
Yeah.
Who's this guy? Fucking X-Arm.
The thing is, there's somebody out there who's like, I love this show. It's everything I've ever wanted.
I don't
don't
meet
think
that
there's
person.
anyone
No,
like that.
I feel like no matter what it is, there's always somebody who it's just their thing.
I feel like my most open-minded version of myself couldn't be friends with that person that genuinely likes it. Unless they're like 6.
Actually-
unless they're a 6-year-old.
No,
And then it's like, I'm not going to be your friend for other reasons.
before I saw
but
the show, I would have said that like, yeah, no matter how bad anything is somebody out there will be able to appreciate it. Not this show. The action scene you mentioned, AJ, is like where you see the glimmer. Like, okay, it coulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda, maybe been all right, but goddamn.
Exactly.
All right. Anyway, we were wrapping this up.
We are wrapping it up.
I just had more
I will-
vitriol for this show real quick.
we could go on all night.
Yeah.
But it's been a long episode, so we're going to wrap it up. Check us out on Twitter at Brokotaku, at BrokotakuCast. That's where we'll share X-Arm memes for the rest of our lives. Follow us on iTunes. Subscribe for all your favorite podcast apps. Stitcher.
Subscribe
Are you
for all
okay?
your
Did
Sounds
favorite
like one.
podcasts.
Did you just
That sounds
die?
like-
What happened?
I was trying to think of podcast apps that people use.
Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Apple Podcasts,
things.
All those.
Gorblify.
We're on YouTube as well. Check us out. We have an exclusive Dragon Ball Super episode, YouTube only, with our good friend Will. where we talk about Dragon Ball Super episodes that are terrible.
It was fun. We had a good time.
It was fun. It was a good time. We'll do it again sometime. And we'll do this again sometime. In fact, we'll do it next time on the Broke Otaku podcast.
That's not true. We'll do it next quarter.
Quarterly.
See you in spring.
See you in the after the fiscal report.
I was talking about the episode in general, not the Smorgas-Borg.
The show?
Oh,
We're going to keep doing the show?
Yeah, we'll keep doing the show. I mean, unless this is the last episode.
Seriously, like,
not,
after watching
no.
X-Arm, I'm like, maybe we should just stop.
Question your life choices. Like, is anime really the right way to spend your time?
This is the kind of thing that yeah, seriously. Because like,
there's things like X-Arm that exist.
No, like imagine like getting excited, like, okay, I got my degree, I got a job, I'm working for a studio, and then you create X-Arm, and then you're just like, I thought I was professional. Imagine the imposter syndrome that's going to follow the team. Sorry, I'm done.
I would have hope if I was making anime for Crunchyroll and they accepted something like X-Arm. I'd be like,
yeah,
my show's a shoo-in.
There's that too. Yeah, it's the bar has been lowered.
You gotta look at the bright side.
Hey man, you gotta start from the bottom. Nobody starts from the top.
There's a
man.
new bottom,
right.
my friends.
The problem's not with the people that are out of school, cutting their teeth on this thing. The problem is with the dude that directed it. It's like, yeah, don't do animation.
No, yeah, they're definitely
ever.
victims. Like the people, they're definitely victims of whatever
This is
committee
like
approved this shit. But
this is like going to a barber college to get your hair cut, except you went there to get your anime made.
Yeah, it's real.
And they messed it up.
I don't know. Think of that analogy for a while. Chew on that. Until next time on the Broke Otaku podcast. See you then.
Later, Otaku.
Bye.
Oh, yeah.
Well.